It's Tuesday, March 26. In the headlines, Jamaica Constabulary Force launches new patrol division and shares update on crime statistics. In business news, business leaders weigh in on minimum wage increase. Regionally, St. Kitts and Nevis upgrades to fourth-generation border system. And in sports, the Reggae Boys places third in CONCACAF's Nations League. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gay. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, launched its Beat Officer Patrol Division, BOPD, within the Kingston and St. Andrew Metropolitan Region on Monday. The division aims to bolster public safety and strengthen community policing efforts. Hence, it falls under the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, led by Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie. ACP McKenzie says the division has started with approximately 150 officers.
The Beat Officer Patrol Division is the newest division within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. It is a part of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement branch. This division was launched this morning, and the officers have been on the street, and I'm quite confident that they have so far been impactful. Of course, we knew of a beat-on-foot patrol before. However, there is a conceptual and operational difference with this particular division in the sense that the beat will be managed with a combination of foot and bicycle to include e-bikes as well.
The JCF's Corporate Communications Unit says that the establishment of the BOPD reflects the force's commitment to proactive policing and community engagement. Meanwhile, the force's latest serious crimes statistic, published on Monday, shows the murder toll as of March 23 stood at 251. This represents an 11% drop in murders year on year, or 30 less homicides over the corresponding period last year, when 281 killings took place. Rape, robberies and break-ins are down 46 and 13% respectively. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, will be partnering with the new social housing program to provide $500 million to fund housing for tourism workers who live in substandard conditions.
This gives us now the opportunity to partner with hotels so we can leverage the $500 million with contributions from hotels to literally double the number of houses that we can build. So a hotel that has a key worker, for example, that has been with them for a long time, and this worker doesn't have a house for themselves or lives in really substandard condition, they can approach the new social housing program and partner with us.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking last week in Parliament. The new social housing program was established in 2018 by Mr. Holness. It was developed to improve the housing condition of the country's poor and disadvantaged population by providing quality, affordable and sustainable housing. He says as of March 2024, 213 units have been built under the program, benefiting 800 individuals across the country.
Currently, there are 51 active construction sites across 25 constituencies.
Plans are in place to provide 14,000 housing solutions through the Housing Agency of Jamaica, HAJ. Providing an update on the agency in his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate in the House of Representatives recently, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said approximately 4,000 have been achieved. The Prime Minister says the HAJ continues to provide affordable housing to low and middle-income earning Jamaicans, as well as provide for the regulation of informal settlements.
Of the 14,000 housing solutions the HAJ has committed to start, I'm pleased to announce that approximately 4,000 of them have been achieved. Over the next 4 years, the HAJ is projecting approximately 10,000 housing starts and just over 6,000 deliveries.
He says the Bay Farm Road project will begin this year,
where 72 housing solutions will be built.
He notes planned development for Clarkstown.
There are persons who, look down on some years and say, "Chow, it can't happen."
That's him.
But, Madam Speaker, 721 housing solutions are slated for Clarkstown.
He says he's confident that once these and other slated housing solutions are built, private investments will increase.
You're going to see more housing developments attracted to the area. And what you're going to find, Madam Speaker, people are going to want to have conveniences near to them. And once that begins, you start to see the nucleus, the cluster of a new urban center emerging.
The government will make available $200 million to provide tuition grants to at least 1,000 tertiary students in good academic standing, but in need of financial support. More in this report from Danita Rodney.
Speaking during his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate, Prime Minister Andrew Holness disclosed that the support will be administered through the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Constituency Development Fund, where each constituency will be allocated approximately $3 million.
The government will make available through the Ministry of Education $200 million to provide tuition support for at least 1,000 students who show that they are in good academic standing with their tertiary institution, but are in need of financial support. See, we care for the people. This support will be administered through the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the CDF, where each constituency will be allocated approximately $3 million, and each beneficiary can get a maximum grant of $200,000.
He says each beneficiary will be eligible for a maximum tuition grant of $200,000. This announcement follows the Finance Minister's promise that effective April 1, applicants to the Students' Loan Bureau (SLB) will not require guarantors to access tertiary financing. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his administration is pursuing productivity gains through digital transformation, and the National Identification System, NIDS, is an integral part of this move. He explains the vision while making his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate in Parliament.
The National Identification System project has been very integral to building out the underlying public key infrastructure to support secure online services. The NIDS project has supported the rollout of the e-passport, many people didn't know that, and the electronic immigration gates, which are now fully operational at the Sangster International Airport, and has assisted greatly in speeding up passenger flow through those airports.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the e-gates are now being tested at the Norman Manley International Airport. He furthers that the regulations relative to the NIDS project are ready and will be taken to Parliament for consideration next month. The board is also in place
to oversee the operations of the National Identification System.
The Prime Minister says 23 post offices across Jamaica will be renovated to be used as NIDS enrollment sites.
The procurement process for 8 of these, Montego Bay, Black River, Maypen, Santa Cruz, Falmouth, St. Anne's Bay, and Ocherius, and Mandeville, has been completed and work will begin shortly.
Mr. Holness says the renovated post offices will double as digital access points,
which will become dedicated areas for people to receive help and to have access to digital services free of charge.
Time now for this week's Living Healthy report.
Hand washing should take you about 1 minute. Use a timer or count from 1 to 10 in each of the following steps. Wet hands with water and apply enough soap to cover all surfaces of the hands. Let the water run smoothly to avoid touching the tap later on. Rub hands palm to palm to obtain a good quantity of foam. Then rub right palm over the back of left hand with interlaced fingers, and vice versa. Rub again palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked, repeating this action for each hand. Rub rotationally left thumb clasped in right palm and vice versa. To clean the tips of the fingers, rub rotationally backwards and forwards with clasped fingers of right hand in left palm and vice versa. Rinse hands thoroughly with running water. Dry hands thoroughly with a single-use towel. If the tap is not elbow-operated, use this towel to turn off the tap without touching it directly. Your hands are now clean and safe.
Now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Stationery and Office Supplies Limited, SOS, has invested 50 million Jamaican dollars to upgrade the stationery arm of the business to drive sales. This $50 million investment will go towards the purchase of 3 new machines, a ruling machine that will increase its ruling capability 5-fold, and 2 bookmaking units that will staple, fold, cut, and bind exercise books in one pass, tripling the daily output. The Hour Today publication notes that the Seek factory, which produces exercise books and other stationery items, was acquired by SOS in 2018, marking its entry into the business of manufacturing. It has since been one of the company's best performing areas, closing out the 2023 fiscal year with revenues climbing over 100 million Jamaican dollars, up from $80 million over the same period last year. Business leaders are open to an annual minimum wage increase to allow for planning in terms of staff costs and the cost of goods and services. Speaking on Monday on the morning agenda on Power 106, PSOJ President Metri Siaga said employers have to do a balancing act to determine whether they can maintain the staff complement and keep prices of services stable. Prime Minister Andrew Holness last week announced that the minimum wage per 40-hour week would move from $13,000 to $15,000 as of June 1. There have been yearly increases in the national minimum wage since 2022. Major Richard Rees, president of the Jamaica Society for Industrial Security, said he would support an annual increase of the minimum wage instead of a significant adjustment at once, which is hard on employers. Meanwhile, MSME Alliance President Donovan Wignall said that the review of wages based on the movements of inflation should become a practice for employers. Mr. Wignall also agreed that yearly increases in the national minimum wage should be pursued. During trading on March 25, 2024, the top 3 advancing stocks covered the education, entertainment, and advertising sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. One-on-One Educational Services Limited shares advanced by 13.95% for a 12-cent price increase to close at 98 cents, with 458,000 shares traded. One Great Studio Company Limited shares advanced 12.79% for an 11 cents price upward movement to close at 97 cents, with 416,816 shares traded. KLE Group Limited shares advanced 12.21% for a 26 cents shift upward to close at $2.39 with 139 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on March 25, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the distribution, medical, and finance sectors. Paramount Trading Jamaica Limited declined by 21.94% for a 34-cent price drop to close at $1.21, with 250,023 shares traded. G West Corporation Limited declined by 14.14% for a 14 cents slip in price to close at 85 cents with 58,817 shares traded. Epley 7.5% shares declined by 13.9% for an 82-cent downward price movement to close at $5.08 with 8,045 shares traded. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on March 25, 2024, registered a volume of 979,702 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at TT $3,710,272.31. JMMB Group Limited was the volume leader with 741,460 shares changing hands for a value of TT $1,121,676.31, followed by the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited with a volume of 115,307 shares being traded for TT $1,120,590.64. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On March 25, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $28.1 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $25.3 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $154.71 and bought the US dollar for $153.39. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.32, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $7.55 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $116.10 and bought for $108.55. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $9.76, selling it for $197.80 and buying it for $188.04. For our credit report tip of the day, high interest rates can make it harder to pay off what you owe. If you have a big balance on your credit cards or loans, it can drag down your credit score. Here's what you can do. Pay on time. Make sure you always pay your bills on time, even if it's just the minimum payment. This shows lenders that you're reliable and helps improve your credit score. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, arriving passengers at the Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport in St. Kitts will enjoy a more seamless and efficient process as the St. Kitts and Nevis Immigration Department upgrades to a fourth-generation border management system.
Grenada hosts its COVID-19 After Action Review today, bringing together officials from the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHU, the OECS Regional Health Project, and local health authorities. The COVID-19 After Action Review was intended to assess the country's response to the pandemic and identify key lessons learned from future preparedness. The COVID-19 After Action Review is a crucial step in Ireland's continuous efforts to strengthen its healthcare system and enhance its preparedness for future health emergencies, explained Minister for Health and Wellness Philip Tellisford.
This After Action Review aims to strengthen our public health response pillars, facilitate consensus building, document lessons learned, identify short, medium, and long-term processes for improving future events, including pandemic preparedness by embracing best practices, preventing errors, strengthening health systems, and identifying effective strategies.
The review process includes an analysis of healthcare system resilience, public health intervention, vaccination campaign, data management, and community engagement strategies. Chief Medical Officer Sean Charles highlighted some of the key plans of the Ministry of Health and Wellness in this regard.
Now, what are some of the key next steps for us? Key next steps for Grenada include the development of an infectious disease emergency plan that incorporate responses to various agents, not just respiratory agents. Also, the development of our Health Emergency Operations Center and various SOPs that will be added to our multi-hazard plan. The conduct of simulation exercises, which will be important to test the responses that we put in our plan, and many more.
Coordinator of the OECS Regional Health Project, Colin Jones, spoke of the key topics that will be discussed during the review.
Evaluation of response efforts. Our foremost objective is to rigorously assess the effectiveness of our response efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. This evaluation comprises of a comprehensive analysis of strategies employed, resources mobilized, and outcomes achieved at both the district and national levels.
This week, Grenada is conducting its COVID-19 After Action Review with regional health partners and officials from the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, and local health authorities.
While the Prime Minister attempted skillfully to present a narrative, and I have to say attempted skillfully, because everybody who knows that teleprompter and speechwriter and all does not help the Prime Minister, the presentation is always still very miserable. I will admit, Madam Speaker, that this time around he got a little bit better, and so I'm suggesting that he practice every chance he gets in this House, bring the teleprompter more regularly, so that by the time the election comes, he will do a darn good concession speech when his party goes home. But as I was saying, Madam Speaker, he attempted to skillfully present a narrative filled with optimism. He cited the International Monetary Fund's recent review, Madam Speaker, and he lauded the economic achievements under his administration. And it is imperative, Madam Speaker, that we dissect these accomplishments with a critical eye and broader perspective. The Prime Minister placed significant emphasis on the IMF's pronouncements, suggesting that it serves as an independent verification of the administration's successful policies. Yet, Madam Speaker, it is essential to underscore that reliance on the IMF's evaluation, especially when it is conveniently aligned with the government's narrative, that this does not validate the effectiveness of these policies in fostering long-term, sustainable economic growth and social equity for the Belizean people.
The United Democratic Party's area representative for Colette, Patrick Faber, chided the Prime Minister for relying heavily on the International Monetary Fund, IMF's recent report on Belize's economic performance. During his budget presentation, Prime Minister John Bresciano spent a great deal of time praising his administration's economic performance based on the IMF's report and projections. Mr. Faber argued that the IMF's report does not validate the Bresciano administration policies towards long-term growth and social equity.
The new system integrates the online entry application KNA travel form, facilitates e-visa processing payment, and features the advanced passenger information dashboard, among other systems. The introduction of a 5 automated passport control kiosk is a highlight of the new experience. According to a press release from the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, the kiosks allowing arriving passengers who are 14 years and older bearing machine-readable passports from member states of the Caribbean Community, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States to avoid long queues and lengthy manual passport checks by an immigration officer. Built-in components such as cameras and pre-approved checks will maintain the integrity of the secure entry protocols into the Federation. Travelers must also present a printout of the information confirmation receipt from the kiosks to an immigration officer. The automated passport control kiosks go live on Monday, March 25th, 2024. Chief Immigration Officer Sheldon Jeffers described the inclusion of the kiosk as having 5 additional immigration officers on the floor. The system will initially cater to returning nationals and persons bearing passports from member states of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. Passport holders from the other aforementioned qualifying countries will be included at the end of March. The release concluded the new border management system is in keeping with the government's strategy to employ practical and efficient e-solutions as the Federation transitions into a sustainable island state. I'm Andre Huey for SKN News 9.
In sports, we kick off with football. The Reggae Boys fought their way to victory against Panama on Sunday and made it to 3rd place at the 2024 CONCACAF Nations League Finals in Texas. Jamaica's men's football head coach Hamir Halgrimson says the Reggae Boys' podium finish is a step forward in the quest to grow and compete at higher levels. The major goal, he says, is reaching the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Sunday's match ended 1-0. The podium finish means Jamaica is the first Caribbean team to make it to that level at the CONCACAF Nations League A. It was also Jamaica's 4th victory over Panama and the first since the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinals. With the 2024 Carifta Games approaching, Trinidad and Tobago's team manager Hugh Gordon and under-20 long jump athlete Junaid Games gave an update on the preparation on TTT Live's Now morning show.
I have to ensure that all the logistics are in place. The athletes are registered in the right events, the necessary flight bookings, hotel accommodations, meals, nutritionists, everybody is outlined and carded for the task that they have in store for them. Once we get to the games, to make sure that everything is in place, so ice baths, rooms, all these different things with regards to logistics. So outside of that, once they have everything in place, they'll be most comfortable. They don't need to go to the games and have to worry where we sleep and where we stay and all these different things.
A key component that I think a lot of people underlook or overlook rather, but Safari, it must feel kind of nice to have a 2-time Olympian basically as your caretaker. What is the relationship like between you and Hugh?
Me and Drew, we have a good relationship since last year. So I always looked up at him when I was young, coming up.
Younger, not that old now, but okay.
When I was a younger runner, I used to look at him. I saw him win the World Champs, saw him win the Olympics. I used to say I want to become at a high level like him. So to have a good relationship with him now as a national athlete, it feels good.
I can imagine. I quite like that you said to have a high standard like him and not necessarily be him, because you have your own legacy to build. Now, Jehu, as much as you were explaining to me your past accomplishments with other games didn't necessarily impact your position right now, it definitely contributes, I imagine. A lot of the times when we talk about going towards these games, we know the prep is extensive, but we also know there's a lot that is needed. So I'm asking probably a little bit of a controversial question, but what are some of the challenges that you guys still face in the lead up to that Carifta Games? I know you knew this was coming.
I wouldn't say we've had that many challenges in the lead up to the Carifta Games,
Beautiful.
Yeah, we have a very good support team. Well, the entry is with some of its key sponsor, the NGC, the sports company, Ministry of Sports, Puma. I think they've all done their part. This year we were able to put on 4 successful training sessions. We were able to head out to Tobago. We just came back from Tobago yesterday morning actually for team preparation with regards to our relay teams. It is something that Trinidad and Tobago has been pretty successful in over the years.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.